Well, if you remember a year and a half or so ago, we had the 20 Mule Team Borax wagon wheels come back in, and I had to reset those tires because the wood had dried out for the Mojave Desert humidity, which is almost nothing. Well, I used an overhead kind of a gantry frame, and I put some winches on. And if you remember watching that, I received a number of comments on how loose jointed my overhead frame is. Why don't you shore it up? Well, today is one of those reasons why it's not shored up, and it is loose jointed. The corner joint work on this frame is just slip jointed together with pins, and that's why it's kind of loose like it is. So it has the ability to kind of swing and sway, which drove a lot of you folks kind of crazy. But when I have it in a position that I find that it's usable, I just put all four legs out to their furthest corners, and it just kind of sits there. It's not 100% stable, but it's fairly stable. Well, I need to move this to get it more centered over the body of this mud wagon, because I'd like to pick this mud wagon up and take it off of the sawhorses and put it on this dolly that I have underneath so that I can make it more mobile and move it around here in the shop. Right now on these sawhorses, it's kind of in the way now that I'm done with my build. And so because it is so loose jointed, it allows me to navigate it around the shop and around some of my tools as I need to bring it forward to center it over this mud wagon. And so since this is so loose jointed, it allows me to kind of navigate it around the shop and kind of crab walk it to where it needs to be. And that's why I don't have all the corners gusseted securely. To make this a little more compact, I'm going to take this front driver's boot off and the rear luggage boot off as well. I can pull the hinges and set them inside the coach body. That ought to ride. This rear luggage boot can also come off. And I'm going to set it down on this dolly set of wheels here. Just kind of slow and steady, one click at a time. Well, because of the weight of the driver's box, I'm going to have this dolly just a little bit forward of the center. Well, this will be the first time it'll be movable since I started. So the motivation of all this is I need to get to this pallet of lumber that was going to be for those 10-foot logging wheels, and it ended up being not usable. So I want to get my forklift up in here and move this out, and I'll probably set this coach back in this area here. Well, these are the hubs to the logging truck or logging arch wheels. These are Holt Manufacturing. And I'm going to start maybe doing some preliminary work on these. These come in, just the center hub itself, come in at 250 pounds. Now these have staggered spokes, and they're what the old material calls a dodged hub. Pretty heavy duty stuff. On the outside of these spokes, there's extra flanges. So there's 2 flanges on every hub. We'll see what they weigh. There's a 50. So these 2 flanges come in at 85 pounds for the pair of them. So just the hub itself to start with, we're at 335 pounds. So I have my overhead frame turned 90 degrees to where I usually have it in the shop. I'm going to straddle my forklift, and again, just kind of bit by bit, about 4, 5, 6 inches at a time. I'm going to walk it down over to my forklift because I want to get this tire down to where it is horizontal. I can't really do much with it vertically, and the mast on my forklift to pick this up gets to be too high. So I'm going to work on these winches, rotate them around so I can grab a hold of this tire and lay it down flat. So I used these winches here when I was handling the borax tires when I reset those. I have one on each end, and I'm going to take them and put them on the sides so I can grab a hold of that tire. Well, I put these on, made to swivel. Thankfully, they don't come off too bad. Just a couple of U-clips over this framework. That wasn't too difficult to change over. So when I worked with those borax wheels and tires, I had my come-alongs on the narrow side, which with these legs played out the way they are, this kind of movement is the most stable that I have in this rack. So as it sits right now, from this leg to the leg in the front, I have 16 feet separation between these 2 feet. When I go side to side, I'm only 7.5 feet. Well, the top of my frame is just over 10 feet, about 10 feet 2 inches. So you can see side to side, I don't have a lot of strength because I am narrower than I am tall. Whereas this other direction, 16 feet at the base versus a little over 10, I'm wider than I am tall, so I'm stable this way. So what I can anticipate happening, if I understand the physics all here, as I pick up this tire, it's going to have a tendency to throw this frame off to the side because it doesn't have the width of the footprint to withstand the weight of this tire as it comes underneath the rack. I'm going to put this winch on the top and the opposite winch on the bottom and try to pick it up. But since it's so far off to the side, it's going to have a tendency to pull this rack to the side, which is what I don't want to happen. So in anticipation of that, to prevent a wreck, I'm going to take this one come-along, move it as close to the center or as close to this winch that I can. And I have put a D-ring on the opposite wall that I'm going to hook into. I'm going to keep this rack from pulling toward that tire, hopefully prevent it from pulling over. So I've got this choked up pretty tight. I don't want it slipping, and I'll hook into my winch on this side. I have to kind of swivel that winch off to the side a bit. What I like to do is stand this up just a little bit, take it off the wall. Then I'm going to hook at the bottom and try to move this whole thing sideways a bit so I can clear the tire from the rest of my paraphernalia. So I'm hooked up to the bottom, hooked up to the top. This might be one of those things that if it makes you squeamish, my foolhardy plans, then maybe you want to fast forward or not watch. But as I've been thinking about it too, if you're actually watching this video, chances are I probably live to tell about it. Otherwise, who knows, maybe I'm dead or in the hospital. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm going to try to stay out as far as I can. This is where I'm pulling against the opposite wall. Now I have some good old Harbor Freight dollies I'm going to stick under here, so once it's on the ground maybe I can roll it up. Now if I move my choker straps, I can get to that side. Get my other two dollies under it. So as I pick this up, it's going to want to roll back this direction. One thing I knew I'd have a problem with is my narrow legs on my overhead frame. I got a 10-foot tire and I have 7.5 foot width on the feet of my frame. So I was wondering if I was going to be able to pick up this one leg and get it by. I don't know if it'll go that high or not. I think not. So now what do I do? If I move a few odds and ends here, these are the bolts that go through the hub and all the ironwork associated with this wheel. I can gain another 18 inches. That'll give me enough room to actually get by. Once I do the measuring, what all I have in mind, I may put this wheel back outside. So it's down where I can measure on it and kind of work with it right now anyway. Well, the whole purpose of laying this tire down horizontally is I need to get an accurate measurement of the circumference. When I try to measure just across with the tape measure, I can tell that this tire is not round. But if I can measure the circumference divided out by pi, mathematically I can get an accurate diameter of what this wheel is. And that's what I need in order to start to do the woodwork to build these two logging wheels. So that's the transition that we're going to make for a couple weeks. I'm going to focus on these logging wheels, see if I can't get these built. Appreciate you following along. Thanks for watching.